Are we up? We're up. Sashiburi, 3 回. Okay, I gotta get cooking over there. Good morning, guys. I'll be back in a minute. You know what I'm doing. I've got to finish cooking over there, so back in a minute for some sizing here. We are ready to go. One day will spill all over the desk of the computer. That day is not today. Hey, good morning, gang. Paper is out. Yes, don't panic me. Paper is out. Only 1 pack today. It's the weekend here. It's Saturday morning. And Ayumi-san is coming to print today. Not Ayumi-san Shiba-san, who makes her own prints. Ayumi-san, our printer, the one who's been off for a couple of years with her baby. Okay, you can see what we're doing. It's been a long time, a year or so, since we've had a sizing stream. We used to do it like once every couple of weeks or so, and then people kind of got bored with it. I got some feedback, someone saying, Dave, please don't do that, so whatever. So we let it go for a while. But today I have no choice. Next week, starting on Wednesday, I will be off in Canada on a vacation with my family. So there will be no streams. We'll talk about that later. There'll be no streams. But as part of preparation for that, I've got to get paper ready for our printers for a 2-week period. So I've normally been doing sizing twice a week. So now next few days, I'm doing sizing almost every day, to try and get paper ready for those guys. So today's a sizing stream, and maybe Monday might also be a sizing stream, and then Thursday there won't be a stream because I will be out of here. So what we've done here is I just prepared, I've had soaking, the glue was soaking overnight, then an hour or so ago I started to gently cook it, and it's been cooking and gently getting ready. The last thing you saw me do a minute ago was put the alum. I boiled up the alum and threw it into the mix and got it all together. So we have here now a blend of Japanese Nikawa glue and alum. We'll talk about the recipe later if anybody wants to know what it is. And that's going to go on the paper here. Should I put, what should I do? Should I move my, should I move this out of the way? Is that better to be up there out of the way? Maybe, so we can see the full motion here, whatever. Let me know what you think. We'll move it around, whatever. Now, something different that probably you didn't see on previous sizing streams. I have here a hot carpet. We've been really struggling. I've been really struggling in winter because the paper is cold. Now you make a nice warm glue mix, but as soon as you put it on the paper, it starts to gel and the paper starts to stick together. So for the past year or so, for at least this winter, we've been using a hot carpet. I prepared this about an hour ago. My die, the thing we're going to do the sizing on, has been warming up. And over under here, the paper has been sitting, warming up. So we've got the whole system warmed up. And even though the room is here, my room today is here at whatever it is, I can't quite see it, 10 something degrees. Oh, now it's 11 degrees. This doesn't matter to the paper. Yukawa glue, it's available all over the place. I get it from Amazon JP here. It comes from, well, we'll there's the package along with an ISBN number. ISBN number, there's a product code number there, which you can easily access from any shopping website. Got that there? Take a screenshot if you want. The company is Nakagawa Glue Company. Whatever, write to us. If you want any information, write to us. Cameron can send you the info. And the alum we use in, it's pearlized. Okay? We don't use the powdered alum. That says alum 500 grams. Again, another code number, product numbers right there. Click. Now this glue, it's interesting, this glue is food grade glue. You can use it for food and stuff. It's not like the dirty stuff. I tried getting some Yukawa glue years and years and years ago from a couple of overseas suppliers, Sinopia and Kramer Pigments and a couple of other places. And it was filthy, just full of crap and junk, and I guess people are making paint with it or something, I don't know. Okay, I have got to get going here. Brush is soaking. That's ready. My standby reservoir of glue is also ready, but I need some more. Die is warmed up, paper is cut. I guess I can perhaps get going. Did I make the brush? Yes, we made the brush out of two smaller ones. You'll see in a minute. It's soaking wet. Yeah, actually, you can see it right here. You can see the idea. I used Elise and Aoyama-san, our helper here. We made it out of two small ones, and there's a bit of a gap in the middle. I have to be a little bit careful. A bit of a gap in the middle. We've got a bunch of other brushes here. We ordered a brush recently from another supplier, and it turned out to be just almost worthless. It was made with plywood. It's just taped together with sticky tape. The hair is too long. I guess I should perhaps try and trim it. And it's just too weak. Just too weak. It holds a bunch of liquid, dumps it all straight away, and won't hold the liquid to the end of the stroke. This other brush we're using holds the liquid right to the end of the pass. Other ones too. We tried ordering another one from the same company, just they got the idea wrong. It's way too short. This is going to be a great brush. When we start making paper, this is going to be a great brush for brushing on the back of the paper to get it smooth. And this is what we do the sizing on. It's just a piece of, what is it, like the countertop stuff? I don't know what you call it. You use bond and put it down on plywood to make a countertop in a kitchen. And we just done it on a bit of a frame to keep it flat. We were using plywood covered with plastic, but we needed something really, really super flat that we can clean easily. So we just made this up. Aoyama-san made it up. looks good. Camera's in a good position. You can see what I'm doing. I think so. Yeah, this is it's a cover to show. Frame drops, no, we're cool. Drop frames 0. Full 4,000 kilobits per second. We're logged in, we're not Wi-Fi'd. I think Dave is not going to read my message. I don't know. I see stuff and I don't see stuff. Sorry. Repeat it. Send it to the email. Oh, here. I think my emails about 8 views of cats are not coming to your inbox. I'm not sure what to say. If you go to the 8 Views of Cats contact page, if you contact us through the 8 Views of Cats contact page, it comes straight to my box. If I'm not sure what I'm not seeing, I'll write the camera as well, use another email address, try something different. I'm not sure. I don't know. But I have to tell you, 8 Views of Cats is not a daily priority for me. It sits there for a couple of weeks, then I do a bit of work on it, then I do stuff. So I may not have seen your email. Anyway. Let's only try it again. But if the 8 Views of Cats, if it's because you sent an application, if you sent a picture, I don't respond to them all. So if that's what you're waiting for, I'm sorry, I know. Okay, let's get this show up and running. This is pretty tight here, but let's try and do this. Yeah, the keyboard covered, eh? Okay, let's do this. So got Dear Bar. Are you Jan then? I don't know. If you are, then I see there is something from you in my box this morning. I haven't done any email this morning, but I see something in there. If you're Mr. JK, then yeah, I will be looking at that this morning when I get to it. The paper today, this is our Takinaga paper, and I've cut the sheets in half. I would like to do the sizing all on one pass, but the sheets are just too big. There's no way I can get a brush that big to do it. There's no way the brush would fit in our bucket here, and there's no way I have the skill to do sheets that large. So we cut them in half. And each of the pieces you see here will make 9 prints in this year's series. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There'll be 9 prints from either this year's series or last year's JJ series. If you need to write to Cameron, it's Hilker, his last name, Hilker, hilker@mogohongkong.com. Or you can use info@mogohongkong.com. Or orders, that's another one, orders@mogohongkong.com. Or just use one of the contact forms on the website. We're pretty good, we have pretty good spam control here. So Most things I think do come through, get through. Haven't missed much. What you're going to see in the next minute is what the whole stream is about. I've got 30 sheets here, so it's going to be actually 60 passes all told to show. This is the front side of the paper I'm doing now. It's 15 large sheets cut in half to make 30. And I'm doing the front sides first, so I'll make 30 passes. Then when that's done, I'll flip it over and do the back. And then, those of you who have seen these sizing streams before last year know that I will try and move the whole unit to the next room where I have to hang this all up. Might be successful, might not. And this is the sizing. Is there a robot command? Yeah, I guess there is. Okay. So the paper, as we get it from paper makers, cannot be used for traditional printmaking. It needs a sizing step first. Sizing meaning we impregnate it with a very light glue mixture. And it doesn't, see, it's very light. The glue is very, very, very weak here. It's about, what am I using right now? I'm using 40 grams of glue per liter of water. That doesn't tell you much when you don't know how strong the glue is, but it's a light glue mixture. If I dip my fingers in it here, I feel a tiny stickiness, and if I let my finger dry, it'll stick, stick, stick. But no, the paper doesn't stick together. Well, it'll stick. You'll see in a few minutes. Once I get to the bottom of this stack, I'll flip it over and I'll peel it apart and do it. You'll see how this works. The last week, of course, I missed the Thursday stream. I'm sorry. I had mentioned beforehand that there wouldn't be one, but I guess some people showed up on Thursday morning and were disappointed. I guess I'm sorry about that. I should have posted a message on the Twitch page there. But what I was doing last week, I went up to Fukui Prefecture to visit our papermaker, the Iwano family. I had originally intended to go up there and come back the same day. That's possible with the Shinkansen trains, Leave in the morning, Tokyo about 7 o'clock, get there about 10. It's the other side of the country, up on the Japan sea coast. Then I was going to chat with him, have lunch, do the business, talk about this year's paper order, stuff like that, and then come back in the evening. But things didn't quite go exactly as I planned. I know when I got there Wednesday morning, they were, of course, all busy working. It's a family of 3 now that works. It's Iwano Ichibe-san, he's the living national treasure. He and his wife do it, and their son, Jun-san, does it. Jun-san's kids, who are now grown up, they're not interested. They don't do this. They're not part of the family business at all. So now it's 3 people. It's Jun-san, who is 50-something, I guess, a bit younger than me. Quite a bit younger than me. And then Iwano-san and his wife, who are quite a bit older than me. So I'm in between. Iwano-san and his wife must be in their 80s, and Jun-san, I guess, must be in his 50s. So it's a family of 3 doing this, and they are stretched to the limit. Absolutely stretched to the limit. In the past number of years, 5 years plus whatever, since Jed Henry's ideas blew up the world of ukiyo-e here, everything has gone crazy. Every publisher in town is making prints of pop culture stuff, and the ukiyo-e world is just in a complete boom. It's not just us with our heroes, we started it, but everybody else is on there making all kinds of prints. Then on top of that, there's the huge inbound business here in Japan, what they call the inbound business. Tourism is up with a huge bang. Except this week, whatever, that's a different story. But in general, tourism is up with a huge bang. So there's huge demand for prints now, woodblock prints of all kinds. Modern type, old types, ukiyo-e, reproductions, originals, you name it. There's huge demand. And Iwano-san's family is really now, as of last fall, they are the absolute last family making traditional paper of this type specifically for woodblock printmakers. There are other paper makers dotted here and there around the country. I mean, lots of paper makers of all different styles. But similar paper to this, mulberry fiber paper. There are paper makers dotted around the country. But, this family is the last one doing it at a quality level and of a type that suits traditional Japanese woodblock printmaking. Up until last summer, there were 2 families, Iwano-san, and across the street, 2 doors down, was the Yamaguchi family. Mr. Kazuo Yamaguchi, he's made all the paper for the Yoshida family for decades and decades and decades now. He closed his doors last autumn. His wife passed away in the summer, and he packed it up. He is 90-something, and his children, nothing. I think his son is an accountant. I forget the exact job he's taken. So this is the situation now. This paper comes from Iwano-san, and they're still doing well. They're working really, really hard, making paper. They had a dip in quality 3 years ago or so that really put us all back. We were really worried about what's going on. They apparently changed some of their materials without really letting us know. And there was a huge problem in quality of the paper back in 2016 and 17. That's back to normal now because they're using normal materials again. But, my God, they are under the gun. An 80-year-old couple with a 50-year-old son, and they're the only game in town now. So they're flooded with orders. And they have no successor. Talking so much I can't see what's going on, sorry. You got your paper this week from Cameron. Oh, you mean this is from where? Matsumura-san or somebody? Shin Hosho? I have no idea who makes that stuff. I don't know. As I said, there are, quote, paper makers, unquote, scattered all over the country. Cameron showed me a video clip the other day, actually, of a paper maker up in Niigata. It was a video clip on their website. He's saying, "What about these people? They're making paper of the same type, Hosho. It's made from mulberry and this and that and this and that and this and that. And it's on the specifications are the same. It's the same mulberry fiber with the same Totoro-ai, with the same rocking and everything else. I watched the video for a few minutes and oh my God, you know. Whatever, they just beat it up, you know. Let me be careful what I say next because it sounds a bit misleading. For example, the paper I'm looking at here, this is made by the Iwano family, eh? They get the fiber, prepare. And at one stage in the preparation, it's necessary to beat the fibers after they've been cooked in an alkali solution to get rid of, you know, lignins and all that kind of stuff that's in the bark. After it's been cooked, it's rinsed and stuff, and it comes onto a heavy platform. And you've got this massive sort of pulpy type fiber mass. And you put it into a group and you literally hammer it. And they've got a big stick of wood. You can find videos of this all over the place. And they bash it. And I watched this on Wednesday, actually. I watched Jun-san do this. And there's a smooth rhythm to it. You just hit it a certain way with a certain amount of force. You go up to the end of the stack, flip, come back to the end of the stack, get your flip. It's like you got Baker, who's flipping, rotating. And you go back and forth over sort of a set time period. He picks it up, looks at it a bit, puts it down, bangs some more, picks it up, looks at it a bit. Then it's ready for the next step, which is, you know, more washing and more mixing and stuff like that. This workshop up in, this video Cameron showed me, it's the same, quote, process. But what the guy did was he banged it for about 30 seconds. He banged it for about 30 seconds, then picked up the mass and threw it into what they call a naginata beater. It's not a Hollander beater like they use in the West. It's a naginata. It's a thing where the water goes round and round and some blades chop, and that sort of separates the fibers apart. And the guy put it in there, turned the switch on, and watched. Then he got some old paper fragments like this, tore them up and threw them in and watched. And then they held the basket of the stuff coming up at the end of it. And whatever, send it to a kindergarten for making play paper or something, I don't know. And this was a workshop. The Cameron said, hey, maybe, wow, look at these papers, it's the same paper. It's the, quote, same paper, same materials, same process, same everything. You beat it not enough, the fibers will be clumped together, there'll be trouble inside the finished prints. You beat it too much, the fibers are shortened. The finished paper is smooth and clear, but it falls apart when you try and use it. There's a Goldilocks thing in every single aspect of this. How much alkali when you're cooking it up, how long you cook it, how hard you beat it, how long you beat it. It's not enough, just right, too much. Everything is a Goldilocks. Why are they doing it that way? Because they can get away with it, because most of their customers don't know or don't care. No, nothing boiled here. That would destroy the strength of the glue. The glue here is at 50 centigrade. And when I was preparing it over there a few minutes ago, I didn't get past 60. And there's different things you read about this. This Nikawa glue is used for many, many different things. It's used for printmaking papers. People also use it in Nihonga painters. They use it for preparing their Nihonga paints. They use it for sizing their canvases for Nihonga. And we had a guy here who was a Nihonga teacher a while ago, and he gets his glue up to about 90 degrees. Almost on the brink of boiling, and he holds it there for quite a long time. For him, that softens up the glue. I guess it's like cooking. It breaks down proteins or whatever. We don't. I need the glue to be a bit stronger than that. So for me, for our tradition, there's no boiling. As I said, I got it to what, a max of around 60 degrees. This is the paper is the paper I'm sizing right now is the same paper we use for every single woodblock print we have ever published in the years I've been doing this. Its basic name is Hosho, H-O-S-H-O, Hosho. And the particular type we use is called, you'll see it described differently. It could be Echizen Hosho. Echizen is the name of the area, the place we now call Fukui Prefecture. You might see it described as Kizuki Hosho, real hand-dipped Hosho paper. Then you might see it described with different adjectives depending on the size. O-bosho, biru-bosho, that's the size, the dimension. The ones we're buying, this particular sheet I'm doing today, is takenaga, that's the dimension. It's big, it's about 780 by 570. So when I say I'm doing takenaga today, it means I'm doing the takenaga size of a hosho sheet of paper. Somebody mentioned the word torinoko. That's a totally different kind of paper, made from different fibers, made in a different way. We have no torinoko here. Oops. Did I do that one? Yes. Yeah, sizing, two words, dimensions, the size, dimensions of the paper, and size, what we're doing here. Sorry about that, that's just the way English works. Here's the last sheet. How are we doing for time? We're okay today. Okay, there we go. Cover the brush. We're halfway through now. Halfway through the rubbing. Kizuki translates to crazy expensive. It's not. Just give me a minute here. It's not crazy expensive. Okay, paper's face up now. We did the face, the top copy. I've got a plastic covering piece of plywood here. Gently on top. Flip. It's not crazy expensive when you compare it to the price of the finished products, the prints, as a proportion of the prints. This takenaga, we pay about, 1,950 yen plus tax plus shipping, 2200 yen, around there. What's that? That's 20 bucks, whatever. So the sheet of paper we're dealing here is 20 bucks a sheet. The pieces here you're seeing me sort of about $10. That's $10 each sheet of that paper. I told you, we're going to get 9 prints out of that. What's that per print? $1 a print. And somebody says this is expensive. It's not expensive. Okay, just a minute here. I have to make a short visit to the smallest room in the house. Back in a minute. Take care of yourself. So I'll be back in a minute. Keep this warm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay. I'm missing a bunch of stuff here. Nothing important, right? Let's roll. Continue. Stream looks good. No drop frames. Okay, now, what's different now? We're going to do the back side. It's the same glue, the same procedure, the same everything, but I am going to carefully, I'm going to wipe off more liquid as I bring the brush out. So I'm going to put less liquid on this. Why? Because this paper actually now is quite wet. Here, this is glued to the front side. I flipped it. So what we are now seeing is the back side. And although this paper is wet, it's got glue on it. Excuse me. It's still manageable. The stuff is so inherently strong. You'll see me later after the glue's gone on both sides. I'll be picking up these wet sheets and mucking around with them. Okay, a little bit more liquid gets knocked off. And here we go, back side. Hopefully nice and smooth and even, hopefully. And again, this is now wet with glue, and yet, look at this. I can put a sheet of paper down on it, move it around, position it. We're ready to go. Oop, too much there. I hit a bit too hard, dumped a bit too much. I don't know if you can see it. It's okay. I brushing with the same stroke right to left? Yes, but did you notice when I flipped it, right? When I flipped it over, I didn't flip it this way. I flipped it this way. So when I did the other side, this is where I was starting, coming this way. And now I flipped it over and I'm going to go the other way. And it shouldn't make any difference except that because I'm not the greatest sizing craftsman in the world here, what happens sometimes is when I hit, it pools out a bit. So I get more liquid here, and if I'm not so good at it, I get less liquid here. You'll see me slowing down here. I'm trying to balance it out. So ideally, if I'm perfect, it's slower here, faster, faster here, slower, 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 so the liquid is even all across. But I'm not so good at this, so it's coming out a bit more liquid here and a bit less. But by flipping it this way, hopefully that kind of thing balances out a bit. The ideal situation would be the same distribution of liquid and glue across the entire surface of the paper on both sides. And we're not so bad. I said I'm not good at it. I mean, whatever, it's working, it's fine. But whatever, it could be better. And what's this, bad Wi-Fi? We're okay, I think. There's no drop, nothing dropped at this end at all, you know. I've learned how to handle this MacBook. The Ethernet cable is taped so it doesn't slide. Who's this? Must be Ayumi-san, kana? Suga-san? Chotto matte, Suga-san.
今日土曜日。それそれ。
あ、そっか、そっか。
あ、でも大丈夫、テストだからすぐ。
そっか。Suga-sanの
これこれこれ。
これ？
あ、違う、テスト。あ、じゃあ。
テスト。
あれ？これ。2月8日土曜。
テス
ト。でもそれ別のだね。すいません。
あ、そうか。これこの形であゆみさんのボタンと思ったんです。
あ、でも今日からあゆみさん来るの？
みたいでしょ。だからあゆみさんと思ったんでしょ。だから彼女の紙を取ったでしょ。
取ったそっか。
あ、ボタンスタートあった。
大丈夫。オッケー。でもテストもやった。もうねテストやったんだ4月。今日6月ねこい。そしてさ今日。ちょっと
かむせよ。
あ、テストじゃない。
Suga-san.
おはようございます。
Actually, I screwed up. The two yellow buttons were side by side, and I missed taking her paper out. So,
テスト3月のテストとね GJ の4月のテストなんですけど、今日川崎さんから GJ
届くみたいですね。そう。
もう来たらすぐやるんで、多分午後かな。5時届く。
焚き火もいつも9時半ぐらい。だからもう9時と9時半いつもストリームやってる途中届きますね。そう。
じゃあそれできるかな。
OK。
はい、ありがとうございます。
そっか、ボタン2つ。Oh, I dodged a bullet there. Wow. And when I came to the freezer door here this morning, I saw one button with a little tag stuck on it. It's in the location for Ayumi-san. So I took Ayumi-san's paper out. That tag actually was Suga-san's button, but it was pushed a bit far north and I couldn't see the button below it. So I got off really, really well there. My God, she's in a good mood. Well, she's always in a good mood, but... Also, too, today's work for her is not just smooth, steady printing. Today's work is testing. The blocks for the, what's this here series? We keep calling it GJ in-house. We call it GJ in-house. The blocks for GJ number 4 have arrived yesterday, before the blocks for GJ number 3. So they started testing number 4. But we heard from our carver, Kawasaki-san, that the blocks for number 3, she shipped them yesterday. So they will be here this morning. So it's a bit unusual. We were really late with print number 1 and 2, but now 3 and 4 are testing simultaneously. And blocks for 5 and 6 are also now being carved. So we are really trying to jump ahead with the carving on this year's series. And part of the reason we've stacked it up like this is because Dave's going to be away for 2 weeks. So if they do their testing now and get these two things, if I give the authorization okay on number 3 and number 4, then they've now got 2 weeks to get both of those prints up and running, and they don't need any more contact from me. So we've tried to work this out. When Dave's away for 2 weeks, I'm doing the sizing the next few days, enough paper for the next couple of weeks, and I will give the authorization for the printing. I'll check their test printing over the next few days. And that means I can get out of here. Bang, I'm gone. I'll be in email contact with Cameron, Sam, and stuff like that, but I don't need to be here supervising the work. Have I lowered the stream quality? I don't think so. I think it's streaming at 10, what is it, 1080, 1020, 1080, I forget the number. This is a freezer. It's an actual physical freezer. The paper goes in. This is Eileen-san's paper. She put it in last night and froze it solid during the night. I brought it out when I had a shower here a couple of hours ago, and it's almost now ready for her to start using. Ah, so not me, okay. Hi. There's a wire down in my right foot. I nearly trip over it every time. A bit too much there. I'm a bit heavy on these corners. Always, always, always. It's funny you mentioned about the shelves and stuff being full of stuff here behind me. You know, when I visited Iwano-san this week, Wednesday, Thursday, I've been to their place many, many times over the years. And this time when I went in, I had really, I don't know if I should talk about it or not. I guess it's okay, whatever. I had the impression when I went in their place this time, there's the house in the middle of the compound. Then there's a shack where they do the dipping and beating. Shack next to it where they do the paper drying, another shack next to it where they do the chiritori and stuff like this, picking out the... It's a bunch of little tiny wooden shacks gathered around the home. House is nice, nicely well-made house. I guess after he became a living national treasure, money was no problem then for a while, so they got a beautiful, beautiful house. But the printmaking is done in a bunch of different shacks. And they're rough wooden buildings. You could push it over. Two guys could lean against it and push it over. But when I went in them this time, all three of those outbuildings are full of junk. There's crap on the floor. There was garbage everywhere. There were buckets kicked around. Clearly they're under the gun, you know, like I said before. It's this family of 3 people trying to do a business that would have been normally done by a large extended family, many people working together. And so when I came home, I thought, was it always like that? Was it really so sort of crappy and dirty and whatever? So I went to some pictures that I had that I took years and years and years ago when I first visited there. And there's pictures of the same room, the same places that I saw today, this week. And it's totally, completely different. Stuff is in order. There are things on the shelves. The floor is open. It looked like a completely neat, clean, well-organized business. And now it just seems to be in a shambles. I'm not trying to insult them. They're an elderly couple trying to work this through. And it really makes me concerned for what the future is going to be. The fact that Jun-san, the son, he's 50-something, his 2 kids, clearly are out of there. They're not going to continue the business. And it makes sense, you know, because all through the past decades, the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 200, blah, 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 woodblock printmaking has been dying. So any kid in his right mind growing up in that family or any other family, no kid in his right mind would take it over. For a number of reasons. It's difficult, hard work, cold water, just blah, blah, out the paper goes, nobody says thank you, you get not so much money. And anyway, it's dying. They've grown up. Jonathan, the guy who's 50 years old, he has spent his whole life, since he was born, in an environment where, more this is dying, it's all finished, it's all over, the good old days are far behind us, nobody's buying paper anymore, it's going to be over. That's his whole life has been in that environment. So when I tell him now, Jun-san, look at the orders, hire some people, get going, let's do this, he can't understand this, because like I said, his entire life has been lived in an environment of, it's all going to be over very soon now. We're going to try and support as long as we can, but the end is nigh. That's the air he's drunk and breathed for 50 years. So I tell him, I want to buy more paper, I want to buy more paper. He doesn't believe me. He believes my words. He knows I'm not, you know, but he doesn't think I get it. There's another part of the problem here. Back in the 1960s, the Olympics came to Japan. The new Shinkansen train was just built. There was a boom, a wow of things. Tourists were everywhere for a few years. And there was an ukiyo-e boom. And all the ukiyo-e publishers at that time, Adachi, Takamizawa, Yudo, whatever, they went nuts and ordered a ton of paper, and it worked well for 1960, 61, 62, 63, and then it died. So they've seen, it's like the stockbrokers talk about the dead cat bounce, right? Somebody came down and, oh, it's okay, we're going up. And boom, down it goes. It's what they call a dead cat bounce. And that's what Jun-san thinks is happening now. And I'm like, no. So why don't they hire more people? So to try and make this happen, during the 2 days that I was there, and what I did is I didn't finish the story. The first day I had lunch with them in business and talk about that, blah, blah, blah. And I told you, I stayed over. I stayed in a hotel nearby, and I spent the entire Thursday morning, almost with no break, right through till night. I spent the whole time at the Coldwater River picking bark out of paper for a number of reasons. One, I wanted to help them. They're busy, whatever. I'm sitting there chatting, bothering them, so I might as well get to work while I'm doing so. But second, also, I wanted to find out what that stuff feels like. I'm always complaining about their paper. Too much bark, too much bark, too much bark. Do it, clean it, clean it, clean it, blah, 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 blah. Okay, Dave, sit down, get the feeling for actually what this is like. So I did it. Wednesday afternoon, Thursday morning, and a good part of Thursday afternoon, I sat there. After 30 minutes, you know, you can't feel your hands anymore. It's cold, flowing water. You can't, literally, you can't feel your hands anymore. You can see your hands moving, and you can see them touching each other, but you can't feel anything anymore. And I learned that it's stupid when you're doing bark picking to wear a shirt that has buttons on it. Because you're leaned on this brace, you're on your knees, leaning over the creek where this water comes through with a chest supporter supporting your weight so your hands don't support your weight. And you don't have buttons, and I have to, but I had a pen in my pocket which disappeared right away. Then the buttons, and so I came out of that with just this grotesque red mark when I was in the bath that night where my button had moved around, you know. I should have just grabbed a pair of scissors and cut it off. I had a ton of fun. It's some of the hardest work I've ever done in my life, but I had a ton of fun. So anyway, Iwano-san's there, Jun-san's there, his wife is there, they're coming in and out, doing their rotation. And I'm saying, okay, look, hire apprentices, hire somebody, you know, blah, 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 your tradition will disappear. And he's like, oh, well, why we can't do that? Because you can't hire an apprentice with the provision, okay, we're going to train you how to do this, you get paid a little bit at first and a bit more. The idea with hiring an apprentice is that there's going to be work for them at the end of their 3-year, 4-year, 5-year, whatever it is. And Jun-san can't do that. And I get it. He has seen this happen before. He can't, in all honesty, hire people and train them when there is no work left at the end of it. And Dave is yelling, there is, we're up and running. As I said, he doesn't get that. So what I put on the table to them was this. I should be careful what I say because I'm promising somebody else's money. I showed him the Patreon page that we have, and that the concept that there are people out there, lots and lots and lots of people out there, you guys among them, I'm sure, who, if they can see, you know, an interesting end here, they will happily support stuff like this. So I told him, I showed him this and said, look, Johnson, if you can identify some young person in this village, a young guy, young girl, whatever, who thinks he'd like to do this, and who you think has the skill to do this, but you can't afford to hire, call me, and me and my corp company and my backers and the patrons and everybody together, we will pay that kid's salary. We'll pay for him. We'll buy his rice. We'll pay his rent. Everything. While he sits there and makes paper with you. And Jun-san is, really? And I'm saying, yes! And I showed him the Patreon page and how much is coming in and what's already going on. So the flea is in his ear a little bit. He doesn't believe me. He doesn't get it. He doesn't really think it could all happen. That's my frustration, because these people are so out of touch with this. So he mumbled and mumbled and mumbled. That's okay. Plan B. Plan B. Jun-san, I will find somebody, maybe one of my staff members or somebody here. I will arrange to pay them. I'll put them on a train. Up they go. And you deal with them 1 day a week if you want, 2 days a week if you want, 7, 8 days a week if you want. I don't care. We will sponsor them and pay them. And he's like, well, that would be sure bothersome. Somebody here that can't be productive, and we'd have to teach them. And of course, it's the same problem I have here. People all the time ask me, Dave, can I come and be your apprentice? I don't even want to get paid. Can I come and learn how to do this? And we say, no, 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 no. Because it's a huge bother. Almost certainly they will quit. There's nothing in it for us except a drain of time and resources. So I get his refusal to take this on, because I myself, I'm doing exactly the same refusal here at this end. I don't know the way out of this conundrum. Actually, there is one way out of it. You know, when I got back and chatted with Cameron and Aoi Amazon about this, they heard me tell these stories and blah, 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 and they said, Dave, get going, you know? Get going. And I could do this. I would love to do this. But, you know, like, what's the point of a 68-year-old guy becoming the new papermaker? X years later, he's dead, and you're starting all over again. I would love to do that. I love also the cold, the environment up there. I had such a good time up there. I'm missing some of this, sorry. I'm missing comments here, I'm sorry. Craft beer, whatever. Dave, pay for me to fly out to Japan. I'll do it. Everybody says so. They say so. I tell you, back when I was first making prints and selling prints here in Japan, back in the late 1980s and through the 90s, I was in the newspapers, blah, 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 and any number of times, some young guy person living in Tokyo, young guy, young girl, whatever, said, oh man, I'd so much like to try this. And in the beginning, I said, sure, come on over. And I spent all kinds of time. Once there was this Italian guy, Marco. He came and stayed with me. He slept upstairs. He stayed for weeks and weeks and weeks. I talked, I trained, I kept away from my bench. I spent hours and hours and hours and weeks with the guy. He went back, made some nice test prints, went back. And now he's a chef in San Francisco. You know, there's no way. There's no way. Papermaking, it's a work of the devil. You take hours and hours with your hands in the cold water trying to think of some better way to do it. I can't trust anybody to do this. I'm not being obnoxious. I'm sorry. Pay for me to come to Japan, I'll do it. No. You, if you're really interested in this, if you think you want to do this, think you get the guts to do this, do it. There's lots of information everywhere. Timothy Barrett's book has all the instructions, even on how to use various American plants to make good paper. Get Barrett's book, make some paper, make a bunch of sheets of paper, send them over here, we'll reject them, make some more, send them over, we'll reject them, make some more, send them over, and we'll say, hey, I think you look like you're interested in doing this. Then we can talk. You have got to show it that you've got the initiative to be able to do this. Because otherwise I totally, absolutely can't trust anybody. I've seen it happen every single time. It's big talk, there's no action. You've got to do it. The other side of the story, the people that have come here, John Amos, the guy in University of Georgia, he first talked about some advice. He ended up making prints himself. He comes over, I help him some more. He makes some prints himself some more. It's self-directed. You've got to be like John. You've got to be crazy about this and self-directed and go for it. Then, if we can see that, we will help every possible way we can. We'll pour all kinds of resources in, time, money, whatever. But you've got to show first the drive. Excuse me. Okay, we are now finished the wiping part of the process. The paper has now been coated both sides. The recipe here, it's easy. I know it varies summer and winter. At the moment it's winter, so I'm using the winter recipe, which is 1 liter of water. I'm using 1 liter of, each liter of water has 40 grams of crystallized glue, and it has 15% of that, which is 6 grams of the alum. This is the winter recipe. In summer, the glue goes up to about 60 grams per liter, and this stays at 15%. That's our basic recipe. But I said this crystallized Nikawa has a certain strength. If you're using a stronger or weaker Nikawa, the number would be different, and I can't tell you on that. Then you saw me do it. It's quite, this actually, I made 2 liters, I've got 2 liters in reserve. But that's the sum. Now, what we have to do is a problem here now. I have to move to next door. Okay, keep that warm for a minute. How am I going to do this? Let me go next door and check. Just back in a second. Okay, what we're going to have to do here, because the camera is on a short power cord here, I'm going to have to unplug the camera and the computer. So I'm going to shut the stream down here now, move my gear, and set it all back up in the next room over there. I can't keep a continuous stream running while I do this. There's too much, a microphone, a camera, an extension cord, and video. I can't do it. So it's 9:08 now. I will be down for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I will restart the stream. So, signing off now. I'll see you again a few minutes from now.